advanced with more incentives on the way. Any way you slice it, this thing reeks of corruption.
Mischaracter of justice, corruption, pay incentives. This is a lot. I want to start with our politician, Stephen A. Smith for president. What's your reaction?
This is not a message I approve.
What? Stop this madness.
From mountains to the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia, why hear the news? Politics and stories.
Hey, you guys remember this live stream I did? Governor Morrisey and Attorney General J.B. McCuskey announced actions against NCAA selection committee. So you guys, just to refresh your memory a little bit, let's jump into this story because Stephen A. Smith had a few things to say about our West Virginia governor. And what's this I hear chatter about Stephen A. Smith for president? I don't know. Let's find out. You guys, we've been switching things up. We thank you for being patient with us today, Mary. So hang tight. Let's jump in feet first. Let's get a memory refresher first. All right, guys, so I'm going to replay the original live stream I did when I recorded the original live stream that Governor Patrick Morrisey held across the X platform. Plus, you know, he had various news stations there, I suppose. Anyway, so at this time, this was my take on everything. You guys, I will preface all of this with to bring everyone up to date that, yes, the Tar Heels did make it into the Final Four. Let me correct. The Tar Heels did make it into the March Madness program. They have a strong history of making it into the March Madness program, and not only just making it into the March Madness program, but they have a strong history of making it into the Final Four along with Duke University. That's why there's always been a strong rivalry between Duke University and NCU, the Tar Heels. All right, without further ado, let's jump in to refresh everyone's memory of what the governor said. Then we'll jump into what Mr. Stephen A. Smith had to say in response. Let's jump in, guys.
Well, West Virginia had 6 quad 1 wins, and that was combined with an undefeated record against quad 3 and quad 4 opponents. 3 wins against top 10 teams, and the 24th toughest schedule in America. West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels. Now, who was the last team to get into the tournament? Ahead of the Mountaineers.
You guys, I gotta rewind this just a hair bit. Now, listen to what he says.
Well, West Virginia had 6 quad 1 wins, and that was combined with an undefeated record against quad 3 and quad 4 opponents. 3 wins against top 10 teams, and the 24th toughest schedule in America. West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels. Now, who was the last team to get into the tournament? Ahead of the Mountaineers.
Robbery at the highest level. Robbery at the highest level. I'm not so sure about that one, but let's continue on just a little bit longer.
That would be the University of North Carolina. It's being reported by a number of outlets that Cunningham had a significant bonus incentive, at least $70,000 to get into the tournament, arguably more if they advanced, with more incentives on the way. Any way you slice it, this thing reeks of corruption.
Mischaracter of justice, corruption, pay incentives. This is a lot. I want to start with our politician, Stephen A. Smith for president. What's your reaction?
This is not a message I approve, number one. in all seriousness, it's embarrassing for an elected official to take the position that he's taken, literally calling for an investigation. You can complain, and he has legitimacy with his complaints, but to go this far and to really try to force an investigation, it's utterly ridiculous. It's childish, and you would like to think our elected officials have something better to do with their time on behalf of their constituency than something of this magnitude.
And I'll reiterate, just as I did in the live stream, I haven't chopped it up, and maybe I should, but I feel like that this shouldn't be a state attorney general issue. I feel like it should be maybe the university itself, the alumni, the booster club, the athletics club, all of that. And all of that's raised off of, I think, donations. And they do get some state grants, maybe federal grants. I'm not sure how it all works. We're about to find out, though. So let's finish listening to what Mr. Stephen A. Smith had to say. It wasn't very much more, and then we'll continue on, guys. Thanks for hanging.
Clearly, he does not. It's utterly ridiculous for him to take this position that he's taken. Having said that,
it is embarrassing.
I will say this: his anger and his disgust
it's justified.
Is valid.
It is.
North Carolina was 1-12 against quad teams. Okay, North Carolina should be in the NIT. North Carolina does not deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. And Bubba Cunningham, some dude named Bubba, is not only on the selection committee; he's the head of selection committee. And to tell us he has to leave the room when the conversation entails North Carolina is utterly ridiculous. So you hadn't been talking about North Carolina before that point. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, around other committee members. You didn't have those conversations. Stop that. We were born at night, not last night. Nobody's believing that nonsense, okay? And in the case of West Virginia, they did have a better resume because they had 6 quad 1 wins this season.
I get it, but you're like Rusty and I talked about, like Big Russ and I talked about, how does it work, the March Madness program? Is it just based off of one season, or is it how the team does as a whole? I don't think that I've really ever heard of WVU being in the March Madness program. Should they be allowed the opportunity? Absolutely. So I do think there should be definitive answers. I think there should be more transparency. And if it is sus that Bubba was in the room when Bubba shouldn't have been in the room, then West Virginia will get to the bottom of it. I just don't think it should be at the behest of all state Virginia taxpayers. All right, so I think it should be a choice whether, hey, I want to give some of this of my money to, check into this, or to the university itself. And then the university itself can decide how to allocate those funds and whether this is something that should be pursued or not. All right, so let's go to the article. All right, guys, we are jumping into this article right now, and it is from Newsbreak once again. So the publisher is Awful Announcing. And so West Virginia, Stephen A. Smith calls out West Virginia governor. And this story is by Brian Contes 6 days ago. So you guys, we watched the clip of that. So here's the article in its entirety. Let me see if I can get it on here better for you. Yeah, there we go. All right, as Stephen A. Smith continues to mull a future run for president, which I'm just now finding out about this. I think Tatum Face is going to have a field day with this one. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you'll find out when I edit this. I might pop his face up there. So as Stephen A. Smith continues to mull a future run for president, he jumped into a political spat with West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey. And I will say, Governor Morrisey deserved that. What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. Let's get on with this. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more serious things that requires the attention. And I'm so sick of, the first go-to generate revenue for the state of West Virginia is, hey, let's file a lawsuit. Let's generate, let's file frivolous lawsuits and generate funds for West Virginia that way. Well, that's ridiculous. We have precious minerals. We have all this stuff. And we're going to get to the data centers in West Virginia too. We're going to find out how that works. And is it going to be a state regulated thing? Right now, I know that they have a sanction or a legislation in place that no more than 2 data centers, I guess, can be operated in the state of West Virginia or owned or whatever. We're going to figure that out too. All right, here we go. If West Virginia University wasn't the biggest snub of the NCAA tournament, they've certainly emerged as the loudest and most notable school to be left off the bracket. Well, I'd have to agree. It's not just sports fans who were upset by the decision. The governor of West Virginia held a press conference Monday afternoon where he threatened legal action against the NCAA committee. And you guys, I really want to pay special note to the fact that I ask questions when I go out to places. So he claims that, all fans, well, guess what? Not every constituent, not every person, not every resident in West Virginia is a college basketball fan. So I think that's the first thing we need to deduce and find out, and out of those that are, ardent, staunch fans, then, they can donate towards this. Who does this really affect in the grand scheme of things for West Virginia? So these are all questions that we would love to get answers to. I have reached out to the governor's office. I've reached out to the press secretary deputy, Mr. Drew Galang. So I know they are busy. It's like dropping a bucket in the sea. Maybe we'll get maybe they'll reach back out. I'm not sure. So let's continue with this article, you guys. All right. And Tuesday morning on First Take, Smith urged Morrisey to find something better to do with his time. And, it's the truth. It's not a lie. We just watched that clip, you guys. And I do want to look at the replies. This should be interesting. All right, you guys. Let's switch up my layout. All right, guys, let's look at some of these comments in this comment section. Let me get right here, All right, so we got some comments here. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, so it is a complete embarrassment that our governor would, and then for John McCuskey, even John McCuskey to get up there, and so I guess Stephen A. Smith disagrees with his press conference. Steve Smith is the expert ESPN political analyst for ESPN, right? He should stick to advising LeBron on being a father. I can't disagree with that one either. So that's from the Pat McAfee show. If you guys can see, let me put it on full screen. I don't know why it looks gray like that. I hope it's not coming through like that. All right, guys. So what an idiot take. I don't think it's an idiot take. I really don't. I truly, which, Stephen A. Smith, rightfully so, is getting beat in the head because of his ridiculousness, foolery, and some of the garbage that comes out of his mouth. And he's just a fence rider. I think he slides that slippery slope. And hey, if he wants to do that, that's cool. Don't come and try to influence a nation while you're doing it. And what policies is he running on? Just curious. All right, guys, that's about all I've got on this. Just wanted to update you on this story. You guys go check out my live stream. Go check out the other content we got going on. And West Virginia is making moves. We just like to see how the prospective counties come together that form the state. I don't think that local law enforcement entities should be locking one another out or even ignoring one another. They should always consistently, constantly be working with one another. All right, you guys, that's all I got today or for right now. Be blessed, and we'll see you on the flip flop. Thanks for watching.
Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars. The grind don't stop, we're living in the scars.